I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can. Obviously, really excited about being back in Indianapolis. It's pretty attractive. You know, that's why we're here, trying to measure every possibility.
Coach, what would you say are the three things you look for in a player this week?
Health. I want to see if they're healthy. I want to see if they love football, and I want to see what their measurables are. That's about all you can really find out here in Indianapolis. But you got to study the tape. You got to gather information, but those are the three key ingredients.
Coach, you're analyzing defensive backs that are more multi-positional now. How does that affect how you project their transition to the NFL as opposed to like 10 or 15 years ago?
Hard to do. Hard to do. Right now, you know, we might be playing 7 defensive backs at a time. If you watch Kansas City play in our division, you might need to play 8. They're throwing the ball unlike any team I've ever seen. So you got to find guys that can match up against big guys, smaller guys, guys that can line up in the box and play the run. We're looking for versatile guys for sure.
At the Senior Bowl, is there any difference in the interview process at the Senior Bowl compared to here, and if so, how?
Not a lot different. Here it's a little bit more restricted because you have 15 minutes and horns blowing every 3 minutes, so it's hard to have a legitimate conversation. But it's just more players, less time, a lot of urgency, though, to get the information.
Now that you've played in the AFC West for a year, what are your thoughts on the division and what you have to do to get better in order to compete?
We're going to get better in every phase of our football. We got obviously needs, offensively, defensively. Flacco's coming to town in Denver. He's a world championship quarterback. We know what Mahomes just did, and Phillip Rivers still very dangerous. So defensively, we've got to improve at all 3 levels, and offensively, we've got to improve as well.
John, does the Bears pick being 24th impact how you view that trade in retrospect?
No, that's just doesn't. And we have no control over what happens really, other than what we do with the pick.
John, what do you look for when you're evaluating edge pass rushers?
Production. You know, can you win when you're one-on-one? Can you win at adversity when the back is chipping? Can you line up on the left side? Can you line up on the right side? Can you go inside over the guard? And what's your playing style? Can you play 75 or 80% of the snaps? That's how it is in pro football most of the time for the great players. A lot of these guys in college football haven't played more than 50% of the snaps. So what's your endurance like? And obviously your arsenal of moves. You know, do you have a number of ways to get home? Power rush? Do you have an alternative move? But we're looking for instincts and a lot of things. And can you stop the run? You know, you don't get the rush if you don't stop the run.
Balance using all your draft picks and maybe building with a young core as opposed to maybe using one of those picks to bring in an established player who might be able to help you now?
Yeah, we plan on obviously trying to get younger. We'll see how it goes. You never know what trade opportunities will present themselves. Every veteran player comes with a price tag. You know, these contracts are very expensive, so you have to measure the financial part of things as well as does he fit your scheme and fit your operation.
Talking about the passing game, is that just the flavor of the month, or are the Rams and the Chiefs and the Saints, what they're doing, can that sustain it? Can you win a championship with it?
I think so. I think you can. You know, the guy in New England can still throw it too. You know, you got to be able to, I think, run the ball in key situations, run out the clock at the end of the game. You got to be able to convert some 3rd and 1, some goal line situations. You got to set up some play action passes. Brady proved that. They had the best play action in all of football. But I think, yes, to answer your question, with the way the passing game truly is today, with all the RPOs, I think you can go all the way with a great pass offense.
John, when you look at Kyler Murray, what are the physical concerns, and how do you, as a coach, as a guy who schemes up, how do you transcend that?
I don't know what the physical concerns are. Are you talking about the height? I think that's been proven to not be as much a factor as maybe it was years ago. If you ask Russell Wilson or Breeze or the kid in Cleveland, you know, I don't know that it's a true impact on the position or the performance.
About the
passing game, does that change how you evaluate the defensive backs?
We got to be able to tackle, you see. I think it all starts there. Everybody gets enamored with the coverage ability, the length, the speed, all that stuff. You got to be able to tackle these guys in one-on-one situations. We had a guy walk in our room last night, a receiver out of Ole Miss. His name is Metcalf. He looked like Jim Brown. He's the biggest wideout I've ever seen. And you got to ask yourself, who's tackling this guy? So if you're a 179-pound corner and you're tackling a 235-pound back or a 230-pound wideout or a tight end, you got to ask yourself, is this what I want to do? So you got to find guys that can tackle big time. And I think sometimes that's overlooked.
Coach, as a man who's been in the broadcast booth before in the past, what are your thoughts on expanding replay?
I don't have any interest in expanding replay. I have a strong interest in eliminating replay, but that's for another day.
John, what do you think of this quarterback class this year?
You know what? It's very interesting. I had an opportunity, a unique opportunity to coach some really good players in Alabama at the Senior Bowl. A kid from North Carolina State impressed me. I think Daniel Jones out of Duke has got a huge upside. I think Drew Lock's got a quick release, accurate passer, a lot of production. Haskins, we met Murray last night. It's a good class. And if they get in the right system with the right coach, could be a great class.
Did Murray convince you that he's all football now?
Yeah, I believe him. My dad drafted Bo Jackson, so I asked him 3 times, are you serious? Are you really? Because no one thought Bo would play baseball back in the day. At least we didn't in Tampa. But it's a sensitive issue. Obviously, the Oakland A's drafted him. We're with the Oakland Raiders. So you want to make sure that the information you gather is correct.
You mentioned Metcalf. How do you see the receiving class overall, the depth-wise, this year?
Yeah, pretty interesting. We'll see how they run. College offenses, sometimes you have to use your imagination with the route trees and things like that. But there's some speed, there's some size, there's some playmakers, and there's some small packages that can really create some offense as well. So I think it's a good group of receivers. Really is.
You see a guy as big as Metcalf coming. Is there any skepticism at all? It's like, maybe he lost flexibility to get that big, or
maybe. We had pictures of him with his shirt off at the, made me want to get in the weight room last night. This guy's really put together, but no, he shows good elusiveness, good change of direction, and I think he's healthy. I think he's been cleared medically, which is the number one thing we wanted to find out.
And your staff, do you feel better a year in and having a chance to get back?
No, not really. We won 4 games. We got a long way to go. We have a long way to go. We're going to get there. I'm confident, very confident in the staff that we have. I think Mike Mayock's addition is really exciting. He fires me up. A lot of energy, a lot of energy, a lot of intelligence, a lot of, I think, creativeness that's going to help our building. And we're eager to try to get better through free agency and through the draft and through our development of players.
John, you said you want to get younger and the financial possibility of maybe making a trade for a veteran player. Would that take you out of the market for someone like an Antonio Brown because of the age, the possible finances that come with it?
Well, I don't like veteran players, so I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to speculate about anybody. We're going to look at every vehicle possible. Certainly the financial part of every acquisition has to be considered. But we're going to look into everybody's availability and what we think is best for our team.
Waves of rotational pass rushers. If you don't have functional mobility, getting out of the pocket and booting and throwing on the run, is that a fatal flaw?
I don't think so. Like I said, a guy that keeps winning the Super Bowls isn't going to win the short shuttle championship. The guy's just an amazing football player, and he's proven you don't have to get on the edge and run for first downs and attack the perimeter. There's a lot of ways to get things done, and it all depends on the supporting cast and the performance of your team.
John, yesterday Mike said that Derek is a franchise quarterback. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that was well said.
Is your franchise quarterback?
Yeah, he's our franchise quarterback, yes. I'll try to make that clear.
Coach, how do you feel about the Lions and XFL? Do you think that is a plausible league that would be able
love it. Yeah, I think it creates opportunity for coaches too. And I love football at any level. And I think the more leagues there are, the more opportunity there is. And I think that league's off to a great start. They even got some good broadcasters. I was listening to it the other night.
How much are your personnel guys tracking those leagues?
They are every game. Every game. We get a write-up every game of who stood out. And like I said, we're evaluating the coaches in that league as well. Impressive guy, man. Redshirt sophomore, 50 touchdown passes at Ohio State. A big guy. You feel his presence when he walks in a room. He's a really calm, cool customer, and they did a great job at Ohio State transitioning from an offense, from a running quarterback to a passing quarterback. That's why Urban Meyer's one of the great college coaches of all time.
I think you believe that you don't put too much weight into measurables, that a lot of the players come in all different sizes. Are there anybody in particular that doesn't fit the quota that you're looking at currently, whether it's safety or?
No, I don't discriminate against anybody, size-wise.
John, you mentioned in the more and more passing that goes on in the league. Does that make it more imperative to find the interior defensive linemen, the tackles, guys that can provide pressure more so than just being the big run stopper like they used to?
Yeah, I think edge pressure sometimes is perceived to be the most important, but the closest yard to the quarterback is right in front of you. And, we won a championship. Warren Sapp was a big part of that. When we were in Green Bay, Reggie White was a big part of that. If the quarterback can't step up, it really helps your edge rushers, and that's important. We drafted 2 young pass rushers inside last year, and we might be in the market for another one.
2 more questions, please.
You might potentially look to the safety position that you may potentially look to the free agent pool to augment on your team, particularly how you were just talking about how you like defensive backs to be a tackler.
Yeah, we're looking at the safeties. We're looking at the safeties in free agency and in the draft. And, when Kelsey's in your division and Antonio Gates is in your division, you'd be looking at safeties too.
Very Conley and Carl Joseph fitting into what you guys want to do?
They're really important guys. Conley's very important. He was injured as a rookie. I thought he played pretty good last year. When he was healthy, he played very well. Had a streak of 4 or 5 games where he showcased some really good stuff. And Carl Joseph has asserted himself as a leader on our football team, and those are 2 young guys that we're going to count on.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.